Hi, welcome to Changing Beliefs into Knowing, an introduction to energy psychology. Have you ever tried to make a change only to be successful for a short time, only to revert back to your old habits? Do you ever get stuck? I sometimes call it being in a funk. Today I'm going to share with you some information about these simple energy tools that I've used successfully, both with clients and myself, to shift from belief into knowing. This is one of my favorite quotes. And really, if a starfish can regrow its arm, they figured out how to do this. I believe as human beings, we have the power to do just about anything we want. But it has a lot to do with our subconscious beliefs. And we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about subconscious beliefs. These are my credentials. And I have to say that even though I'm a licensed minister. However, I am not a licensed therapist. I have my master's in mental health counseling from Nova Southeast University. I chose not to get my license as a mental health counselor. I choose to be a spiritual counselor, which allows me to use some of these tools that I find a whole lot more effective than traditional therapy. However, with my background in mental health counseling, if I come across a client with a serious mental health issue, with a mental health issue, I understand mental health counseling enough to be able to refer them to a traditional therapist when necessary. These are the energy psychology tools I use. One is called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, also known as meridian tapping. You'll hear me refer to tapping. I use emotional freedom technique or meridian tapping to what I call tap out emotional negativity. Any negative emotions that we have that get stuck in our bodies can create problems. And we use the EFT to, I call it tap the crap out. It's tapping all the icky stuff out. And then I use what's called Psych K, and we will talk a little bit more later about Psych K, as a way to input new positive beliefs. So we use EFT to get rid of the negative and Psych K to put in the positive, again, into your subconscious mind. We can change our program at any time. It's up to us. It's important to know that your subconscious mind is in control 95% of the time, and the conscious mind is controlled only 5% of the time. Our subconscious beliefs show up as habits in our daily lives. This is why sometimes we self-sabotage ourselves, because there's a subconscious belief that shows up and it prevents us from doing our very best. So how do we get stuck? Well, our subconscious beliefs were programmed into our brains by the age 6 or 7. So these are childhood issues that come up. Many of these beliefs were based on our own perspectives during that time in our life. You know, it could have been a parent, it could have been a neighborhood kid, it could have been a teacher, it could have been somebody that made you feel less than. This often presents us with daily struggles during the time in our life. And when your subconscious mind contains beliefs that are congruent with your goals, life becomes much easier than the daily struggle. What I mean by this is that if you have a belief of I'm not good enough, and it's programmed in your subconscious mind is going to make everything you do keep that true. So everything that keeps that true starts showing up in your life. And this is where self-sabotage comes in. Beliefs that when we do change subconscious beliefs, the beliefs that took months or even years to change can often be changed in minutes through some of these energy psychology tools that we use. Traditional hypnotherapy, you might work on one issue in a 50 minute to an hour session. With the tools that I use, you can work through anywhere from 3 to 6 or 7 issues in a 50-minute session. So it's a lot quicker. And we will talk a little bit more as we go on through this about how that works. Happiness is an inside job. It's all inside your subconscious. And that is the key. Meridian tapping is a self-empowering tool based on research indicating that emotional trauma contributes greatly to disease. I first learned about tapping after a car accident that left me with a back injury. I hadn't had any back pain until then. I didn't understand how it can affect the simple everyday actions that it does. I started tapping when I felt the back pain, and it assisted me in sleeping without any pain. And when I was walking, it helped reduce the pain. I found that this simple tapping could help with a variety of situations in my life that needed healing, not just the physical. I use it with my clients for anxiety and trauma, any kind of emotional trauma or physical trauma, PTSD. Uh, I've even used it for eating cravings as well. Clinical trials have demonstrated that tapping is effective in rapidly reducing the emotional consequences of memories and incidents that trigger emotional distress. After the distress is lessened or eliminated, the body can frequently rebalance itself, accelerating the healing process. Tapping uses components of cognitive therapy and exposure therapy, combining them with acupressure by tapping on acupuncture points. I'll be teaching you today a simple one-step tap. Actually, I'm going to be teaching you the full tapping sequence that will assist you in relieving most anxieties and stress. Gary Craig was a pioneer in meridian tapping and founded EFT in the 1980s while successfully working with Vietnam veterans suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder. He surmised that the cause of all negative emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. He found that EFT could effectively restore the body's energy system, reducing the negative emotions. Again, tapping out all those negative emotions. Let's take some time to look at what some of those are. I want you to think about maybe some of the things that might come up for you. And again, there's a whole lot more than this to look at. These are just some examples. Over 20 clinical trials published in peer-reviewed medical and psychology journals have indicated that EFT meridian tapping is successful with phobias, anxiety, depression, PTSD, pain, and other problems. Approximately 10 million people worldwide have used EFT or meridian tapping successfully with relief. I've personally used it with myself and also with my clients very successfully. You can use it for anxiety, intimacy and trust, financial stability, pain management, ADD, ADHD, allergies, snoring, setting and accomplishing goals, setting boundaries, and codependency. Public speaking and social anxiety, controlling critical and argumentative attitudes, and pretty much anything. As they say, try it, you'll like it. All kidding aside, I teach my clients how to tap away all sorts of negativity and heal themselves. It's very empowering to know that when something comes up for you, you can tap away the feelings and deal with the situation in a positive way, which usually results in a positive consequence. Because you'll understand and you'll know how to tap for yourself, you won't be dependent on anyone else to help you get through that situation, which is very empowering. It's a tool that you can use anytime, anywhere, except I warn you, don't use it while you're driving. How many times have you stated an affirmation and your brain says, I don't think so, or yeah, right? If we don't believe the affirmation, how can it stick? According to Rex Steven Sykes, he's a master trainer of NLP, speaker, business consultant, writer, and expert in accelerated learning and brain-based learning. He states that when you don't believe an affirmation, you're actually setting up an internal conflict that causes you to activate the exact opposite of what you want. Subconsciously, your brain doesn't believe the affirmation, and the subconscious is in control. EFT and other energy tools break through these subconscious internal conflicts. When you take away that resistance to the affirmation and shift it with these energy tools, then belief occurs. We'll be looking at this too. When you come across an affirmation, and you're going to learn how to muscle test your subconscious on it to determine whether you believe it or not. So you'll be able to muscle test yourself on that. And if you don't believe, if you have a resistance to the affirmation, then you can actually tap on the resistance to the affirmation and get rid of the resistance so the affirmation will stick. Once you learn the process, it's really a simple tool that can be used anywhere and anytime. All you need are your hands. It's important to connect with your feelings surrounding that which you are wanting to change. I tell my clients that tapping isn't necessarily polite. I've seen videos where they tap very politely, but you know what? Our feelings aren't necessarily always polite. We may be angry or frustrated or in a lot of pain, and you may need to sob and cry or, sometimes even swear. Um, you need to speak loudly, yell, scream, or cry in order to get in touch with those feelings, and you need to do that. It's important to get in touch with those feelings in order to get rid of them. Otherwise, you've just shoved them down inside, and they're going to come out when you least expect them. You know when the energy has shifted because there are some physical symptoms. You might yawn, you might smile, there might be a breath of release, there might even be some laughter. So you'll feel an energetic shift when you'll feel like, it doesn't feel like it anymore. The feelings will have shifted, and you'll know when that is. It's important to start with determining how you feel so that you know how much tapping you need to do to get to a comfortable place. SUDs, also known as subjective units of discomfort, distinguishes our level of pain, stress, anxiety, or discomfort. On a level of 1 to 10, 1 being okay and 10 is the worst feeling in the world, we always decide on a SUDS level before we begin energy work so we can measure our own success. For example, if I have a pain in my hip, I would say it's about a 7 or an 8. Then after the energy work, I might rate it a 1 or a 2. If it goes down from an 8 to a 5, then I know I need to do some more tapping. We start tapping at the karate chop point, which is located right there on that hand. And while we start tapping there, we say a setup phrase, which starts with "even though I feel," and you would describe how you feel. Even though I feel pain in my hip might be something that I would say. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Continue tapping on the karate chop, saying this a couple of different times, and then you shift and you go to the top of your head and you start describing those feelings, how you're feeling, and the story of the situation along with it, everything that comes up for you. So you tap on the top of your head, and then you're going to tap all the way through the points. You're going to go to the eyebrow point, the side of the eye, under the nose, your chin, your collarbone, and right there we call it bra strap for women, but it's right underneath your arm there, next to your chest. And then you go back to the karate chop point. And when you end at the karate chop point, and you're going to do this this round. We call it a round. We go from karate chop all the way through the tapping points back to the karate chop. That's one round. When you do one round, you might do like 2 or 3 different rounds, and you tap about 5 times on each place. But don't count it because you don't want to be focused on the counting. You're going to be focused on the feelings, okay? And you just move through the way you feel you need to. Follow what your body says to do. You really can't mess this up. And if you're more concerned about messing it up, then you're not focused on your feelings, and they're not going to shift. So it's really, really important to focus on what your feelings. Okay. So I did send you a copy of this, the tapping points, and I did send you a copy of this in your email if you're a client of mine. So you do have that to look at as well. And right now I'm going to stop this, and I'm going to go to the camcorder, and I'm going to go ahead and do a video. Oh, I'm going to close this. There, I'm going to do a quick video and show you how we're going to do the tapping.
It's 3:30.
Wonderful. I have on my computer every half an hour I have, this is a good business tip. Every half an hour, my computer tells me what time it is, so that if I'm involved in a project and I get a little bit lost in the time, because sometimes I do, it reminds me what time it is. So I'm obviously recording this at 3:30 in the afternoon. So let's go ahead and I want to talk a little bit about, first of all, one of the things that I want to tap on is I'm struggling with keeping a schedule. And I want to talk about that. So that's what I'm going to tap on. And I would think that my resistance to keeping a schedule is about an 8. It's not real good. And part of it is, and I can tell you exactly why, but knowing the why doesn't always help with fixing it and changing it. The why is I was a school teacher for 20 years and everybody scheduled my schedule, and I really had no time for myself. I only had 20 minutes for lunch. I couldn't use the bathroom when I wanted to. So I have this rebellious attitude toward a schedule. So I'm going to tap on that. And I'm going to use that as an example for tapping so that you understand the importance of getting in touch with your feelings. So I'm going to measure my SUDS units, probably about an 8, might even be a 9. Okay. And then later on, after I do the tapping, as time progresses, I might get back with you and let you know how that's changed for me. I might have to tap a little more than just this example, but I'm going to start right here. I'm going to tap right here. I'm going to move this back a little so you can see me a little bit better. There we go. I'm going to start tapping right here, and I'm going to use the phrase, even though I have this resistance to a schedule, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I have this really bad resistance to a schedule. I really deeply, completely love and accept myself. I have this resistance to a schedule. I hate schedules. I don't like schedules. I feel like somebody's trying to control me with this schedule. I don't like having a schedule. I really don't like having a schedule. I like to be free to do things when I want to do them without a schedule. But I know how bad it is because I have clients to see. I have business to do. I have things I need to do. And without a schedule, I'm not getting them done the way I think I need to get them done. It feels real loosey-goosey. I'm not happy with not having a schedule. I really have trouble with this schedule. I really, 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 really have resistance to the schedule. I'm really tired of not wanting a schedule. And I remember how horrible it was when I was teaching. didn't have a moment to myself. I had no time to myself. I had no time for friends. I had no time for anybody but my kids, my husband, and my job. I had no time for hobbies. I had no time for me. I don't even think I had time for a bubble bath. And I think that's what I'm afraid of, is that I'm not going to have time for me if I schedule. If I honor a schedule, I'm not going to have time for me. And I think that's what I'm really, really afraid of. Even though I have this fear of schedules, and even though I have this feeling of resistance around scheduling, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Take a deep breath. Well, that's an example of how we tap. And I said some pretty intimate things about myself. So I'm being a little vulnerable to you. But I think that's important to know who I am and where I'm coming from as well. And that I have struggles like everybody else. We're not perfect. And that's why we're here to work on the work that we work on, to help make us better in what we do. I'm going to go ahead and go back. I'm going to take me off the camcorder, and I'm going to go back to the presentation. And let's go back. Oh, yeah, here we go. We were able to start right where we left off. How wonderful is that? I like AnyMeeting. And we can download it and make it into a video. That's the cool part. Okay, now it's really important that you practice tapping. I usually try to tap 2 or 3 times a day. on something that's bothering me, or maybe even just something that I want to get a little stronger at. And the only time it doesn't work is when we don't use it. And again, you don't want to use it in the car while you're driving, but you can use it anywhere else. And again, the only time, and a lot of people think, oh, well, it just really looks stupid. You know what? If you're afraid of how you're going to look, go to the restroom, the bathroom, and do it in the bathroom when you're all by yourself. If you're concerned about what it looks like. I remember doing it in a dental chair one time because I was concerned about, I had a fear of something in the dentist. I had swallowed some of the numbing agent in my throat and I couldn't feel my throat, and I had close to an anxiety attack, and I started tapping in front of the dentist, and she wondered what I was doing, and I explained to her, and it shifted the anxiety from about an 8 or a 9. I was ready to jump out of the chair and leave, and it shifted it really quick, and I was able to probably got it down to about a 3. So I was able to sit through the process and finish up the dental the process I was going through. Again, it's important to try it on everything. It's time to get rid of those limiting thoughts and beliefs that end up self-sabotaging our successes. And it can help you become the person you're always meant to be. We're going to talk now about one of the other tools that I use with my clients, and this is called Psych-K. It was originated in 1988 by Robert Williams. He's a psychologist. It's an easy process that assists you in communicating with your subconscious mind, so you can change beliefs that impact your self-esteem, relationships, job performance, and even your physical health. This is the tool that I use to help input the new positive beliefs into your subconscious. And it's very quick and very easy. We start with Psych-K with permission through muscle testing, and in a little bit I'm going to show you how to muscle test. When we balance the brain with the new belief and confirm and celebrate. So this is the process. So muscle test, ask permission, balance the brain with a new belief, and we confirm and then celebrate. There's a variety of procedures for rewriting the belief. It confirms 3 levels of the mind: your conscious, subconscious, and your superconscious, which is your higher self. Uses muscle testing to communicate between the superconscious and the subconscious. Superconscious is kind of your spiritual, your soul. Your subconscious is the beliefs that are put in there through everything that happens to you. It's your stored memory. And some of those stored memories aren't necessarily congruent with the superconscious, not necessarily healthy. If you grew up in a home where you weren't valued, you're going to have one of the subconscious beliefs you might have is, I'm not lovable, and I don't love myself, and your superconscious knows better that it needs to do that. So we muscle test for permission between superconscious and subconscious to determine what needs to happen and what we need to let go. It is developed from split brain research with hundreds of individuals and groups. You've got your left and your right hemisphere, and whole brain reprograms the subconscious mind, supporting your goals instead of limiting them. It reduces resistance to change at the subconscious level. So what happens is you have a limiting belief and it's stuck in one side of the brain, and we do a brain balance to create balance in there so it's not stuck. So I'm going to show you a muscle testing demonstration that you will be using in our sessions. And if you see the picture there, that's how you're going to hold your fingers. And I'm going to go back to the camcorder and do a demonstration here. After watching the demonstration, I suggest you practice muscle testing. You can muscle test yourself on affirmations to see if your subconscious believes them or not. You can muscle test yourself on whether food is healthy for you, or an activity or relationship or behavior is true for you. Muscle testing is based on the same energy premise as lie detector tests are. So it is scientifically valid. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over. There we go. Woohoo. Okay. And you're going to take your fingers in like this picture showed before. Let's put it over here. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do this. You're going to put them where they can come apart like this. When you do muscle testing and you're addressing your subconscious, it's important to keep your chin parallel to the ground and your eyes looking downward. They're not closed. Now, because the way the camera's looking at me, they look like they're closed, but they're not. They're looking down, but my chin is parallel. Now, if I look down like this, I'm not addressing my subconscious. There's a process. It's chin parallel to the ground and eyes looking down. They're almost closed. You can barely see. And then you're going to take your fingers and you're going to resist pulling. Now, when you muscle test, you're not thinking about the resistance. You're thinking about what you're saying, whether it's true or not. And we muscle test 3 ways first to determine that we're balanced and our testing is sufficient. And the first thing you're going to test on is your name. And I'm going to say, my name is Betsy. Yep. My name is Frank. No. Okay. See, when it pulls apart, that means a no. Then I'm going to say yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Okay. And then I'm going to think of something absolutely wonderful. Okay. I'm going to think of something really, really horrible. Okay. So those are the ways that you muscle test. Again, with your fingers. This is no, and this is yes. And I want you to practice that because we will be using it in our Skype sessions. So I'm going to go back to, get off the camcorder and go back to our share slides. Open. And it should bring us to where we left off. Okay. And a Psyche can be applied to these different areas of our life: health, body, relationships, self-esteem, prosperity, grief, loss, personal power, and spirituality. And you might probably wonder, well, what do any of these have to do with my business? Well, our personal life has a lot to do with our business life. And if we have a block somewhere in our personal life, it does affect how we do business and how we show up in our business. So we're going to use some muscle testing to determine where we need to work in our sessions. And so I need you to practice the muscle testing, and I need you to practice the tapping. And to get ready for your first session, I want you to fill out your assessment that was mailed to you and email it back to me 24 hours prior to your session. This is kind of a roadmap. It kind of gives me an idea where to start with you as a client. It will certainly save us time and make the most out of our sessions. Make sure that you have me as a Skype contact. It's under Betsy Rosum, and you're ready to utilize it. Practice some EFT tapping and muscle testing, and have a notebook or journal to take notes. And then you're going to go to Time Trade to set up your appointment if you haven't already. You'll be getting an email from me with this information and the assessment, as well as, well, you've probably already gotten this because you're listening to the video, because this video is in this email that you got. But all the information that you need is in that video. And if you have any questions, please feel free to text me, 772-812-6730, or go to my website, and my phone number's on there as well as any emails that you need to take care of. Looking forward to our session and seeing the positive changes. I love seeing the positive changes in my clients. It's so rewarding. I love the work that I do, and I'm looking forward to being your guide. Thank you.